Welcome to Mastery Podcast, where stories unlock the secrets of an empowered and abundant life. Today, we have our special guest, Lori Darley. Lori is a conscious leadership pioneer, the founder of Conscious Leaders, LLC, and author of Dancing Naked, Claiming Your Power as a Conscious Leader. She specializes in helping organizations facing growing pains, team engagement issues, and the quest for clarity in personal and professional purpose. She's on a mission to shift limiting mindsets and unlock the capacity inside individuals and teams to produce superlative results. With a remarkable background as a certified somatic coach, she has worked with renowned companies like BNSF, Railway, Mary Kay, and more. Her expertise lies in creating authentic and results-based cultures while also developing purpose-driven influencers. Join us as we dive into her inspiring journey and gain invaluable insights into conscious leadership. Lori, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's so good to be with you, Dr. Sass. So wonderful. I feel like I'm at home.
Oh, you are at home.
I am. I feel at home.
Yeah, thanks to our technology, right?
Yes.
It's so great to be talking to you today, Lori. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I gave that huge introduction, which doesn't do justice because you've done so much. Just a little bit about your background.
Well, let's see. Everybody goes through stages in life, right? And my stages seem kind of disparate from one another. And yet from the standpoint of our capacity to be human beings and how we're wired, it's actually kind of for me, my story kind of flows together. Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to dance, be a ballerina. My body was not structured to be a ballerina, but nonetheless, I practiced and all the way through from 4 years old into adulthood, co-founded a professional contemporary dance company. I've toured internationally, including into the Soviet Union, many, many moons ago. I will not give you the year, because it will definitely date me, but it's okay. And so as a dancer, choreographer, and artistic director of that organization, I recognized that what I was doing was actually training high performance athletes. And I'd also read a book when I was 16. It was called The Nature of Personal Reality. And it was kind of like a quantum physics primer on how our thoughts create our reality. So a lot of that sort of mind-body connection was very much influencing my early life. I danced professionally till I was 43. And I've been coaching and training leaders for 24 years. So please don't do the math. But in any event, at around year 2000, in 2000, I hung up my shingle as a transitions coach, creating and supporting people and creating intentional, committed, and fully chosen futures. I was trained by Dr. David Zellman of the Transitions Institute. And it's been just an extraordinary journey. In 2015, I rebranded as Conscious Leaders, not because I was like, whoa, look at me, I'm a conscious leader, but more that I'm on my own journey. And conscious leadership we're never done, right? We can always elevate to the next level of awareness and impact in our personal and professional lives. So that's you actually did a beautiful job. That's probably one of the best introductions I've ever been given. So thank you for that. I think you reworked mine a little bit. Thank you.
a little bit with some help. And I thank you for that story. And I just found it fascinating that you were a dancer before and now you, I know we spoke a few times and you said you were dropped on your head. and that kind of will open different doors for you also, right? And now you're the conscious leader expert And you created this Conscious Leaders Wisdom Circle. Can you elaborate more about that aspect of your work?
Sure, absolutely. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I fully healed from being dropped on my head, and it hasn't knocked sense into me or hurt me in some way.
Maybe I should ask your husband.
Yeah, right. But it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I had hired a coach to support me in, do I have founder syndrome? And which then prepared me for the transition. But as conscious leaders, I'm doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, team building, team development through various channels. And this year, I'm kind of a solopreneur, probably much like you, with a small contract team. And I just, the word community was just bubbled up inside of me. I was like, I want to create community. And I didn't realize that in speaking that aloud, even though I know that making a declaration, the universe organizes itself to fulfill your commitment. I have this just wonderful opportunity to cultivate groups of conscious leaders, social impact people, people who have a purpose larger than self, and join in community to really discover and expand the edges of their own personal and leadership development, and then also to expand their impact in the world. So I'm just talking with a lot of incredible people who have devoted themselves to kind of trying to solve some of the most entrenched problems that are, clearly not solved yet on our planet. And, but one of the things that I've learned along the way is that transformation doesn't happen in isolation. It happens through our conversations and through our support of one another and in community. And so I wanted to create the Conscious Leaders Wisdom Circle as an opportunity for people to journey together for an entire year and to continue on as a lifelong community. So that's the vision for Conscious Leaders Wisdom Circle.
Nice. And that sounds really enticing when you are in this space, right? Where you want to support each other, to uplift the world and to solve, like you said. There's a lot of, you use the word problems, and, I guess it's like there's so many situations in the world that need our attention, and we need leaders, and we are stronger as a pack. And I commend you for that, for create this conscious leader. And when one question I want to ask you on a side note, because you kind of weave in all your experiences into your workshop. One of the things that you do during the workshop is improv. And I saw a video of you doing an improv stand-up comedy and about your personal life. And it was just so funny. I was sitting here laughing and you were just so funny. And you kind of just have a great way of making people feeling really comfortable in a group like that. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I forgot I sent that to you.
Is it okay that we talk about it?
Absolutely. Let me be clear. I'm a student of comedy. That was a showcase after a long workshop. I have done some improv and stand up, but only as a student. I clearly have not quit my day job. But so stand up is a completely different animal than improv, but improv for me has captivated both myself and my husband. He's actually been writing not crazy, but developing a program called Creating a Yes and Life. And yes and is one of the principles of improv, which is essentially, how do I enter into a conversation, and rather than as teams, we're often or in our own leadership, we are paid to solve problems, right? Mm-hmm. And so what the yes and does is interrupt that, and its purpose is to open people up to exploring possibilities. Yes, you'll get to problem solving. Yes, you'll get to the logic and strategy and all of that, which is also necessary. But I do love that space that when people are, literally trying to bypass the thinking mind, mm-hmm. there's something that opens up, and I've blended that into sort of a precursor to some of the mastermind experiences that people will engage in at the Wisdom Circle. So it's really about kind of opening to possibilities and also readying participants to be present and open to the collective wisdom, not just their own, right? So in the masterminding kind of experience. So that's how I've threaded, besides the fact that I just think laughter is the best medicine. Uh-huh. Yeah. And along with grieving, laughter, just raucous laughter, I actually did a laugh yoga class. Have you ever done one of those?
No.
Dr. says, oh my gosh, it's just like laughing for laughing's sake. And it's contagious. And it is, besides that, it's a great workout.
I got to try one of those. Yeah. We all need to laugh.
Yeah. So humor, I think that we all need to kind of lighten up right now. We're holding things so close, and people are, I think, kind of wearing thin, and we're more siloed and more polarized than we've ever been. And we have to find ways to find common ground.
Yeah. Nice. I like how you said that we need to lighten up a little bit, and the society create like structure, right? And we fall into the box of this structure, and we wear suit and tie and high heels and blazers and stuff like that.
Not anymore.
To work. Yeah, not anymore. I saw a clip of you doing a workshop with your comfortable shoes.
That was before the hip replacement. With my comfortable shoes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I thought you were talking about the one with I sent you one with high heels too. That was before the hip replacement.
Yeah. But you know what? I think people need to just be them, right? No need to, conform yourself to what the status quo said you should look like, what you should wear and stuff like that. And I believe this is like the power of being conscious and being aware of who you are and your mission in the world. You also wrote a book. I know it been a while, but your book still the message from your book, Dancing Naked, Claiming Your Power as a Conscious Leader, still valid. It's been just a few years, but I actually just ordered it. It didn't come in time for me to hold up on this interview, but I read some reviews about it, and I read the summary of your book. And you talk about was it the 4 C's in your book?
The clearing process.
The clearing process. I just resonate with that. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. The 4 C's are not necessarily linear order. They can be touched in on at various moments, but they're more like the spaces. And the first one is clarity. How self-aware am I? How clear am I about my vision and my purpose in life? How clear am I and self-aware of my own triggers? and have the capacity to flex and lean into my own discomfort and to center and ground myself in a way to lean into whatever is occurring around me. So clarity is one powerful word that really belies just an extraordinary amount of work, self-work and development. The next piece is completion. Completion is about putting the past where it belongs in the past. And as human beings, everybody has probably experienced some kind of trauma, some kind of injustice, perhaps an old tape from your given to you by your parents before you had the language to defend yourself. And so the completion is a process that you actually find honorable closure with whatever it is, because every time that we restate the truth of our past, we're actually recreating it. So that's completion, which again is I've spent probably a lot of my own training focused on me completing on the past, and there's always more past to complete on. Might be yesterday, right?
That's right.
Right. It's like
might be some people like cursing you off as you're driving down the highway. You know,
right?
Got to put that behind us.
Exactly. And the third space is creation. And this is, my teacher, David Zellman, is the source of this distinction, which is that really all we're ever doing, and quite frankly, all we're ever doing in improv is creating. Right now, we're creating our experience. Right now, the choices that we make, which are either a function of our own habits and reactivity, or they are intentional choices. We are creating a life, we're creating our way of being, and it doesn't necessarily mean that things aren't going to show up for us to have to respond to, but how we can face the world as it is, not the way we think it should be, is a very powerful piece of work. And it means that we got to be awake in the moment, or we are a part of somebody else's journey and not our own. And then the final is about capacity. How do we take all of this awareness, all of this ability to, besides your own strengths and gifts and passions, and take it out into the world in a way that really maximizes the impact that your personal and professional life can have on others.
Nice. I just resonate with everything that you said, and I live like that. I'm still, every day, doing the completion, like you said. Every day we have trauma, right? It's either big or small. And it's just amazing how you can explain that in such a short term. And I'm just so excited to read your book. It's coming in tonight.
Thank you. The first half was about my journey, and then the second half is about how I work with others on their journey.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I want to kind of just comment on that a little bit. You said that we live in this world. It's not the world that we think it is, but it's the world that it actually is. And our job is to see that beautiful world that it is, right? It's perspective. And we work on ourselves every day to see that beautiful perspective that it is. And people just don't see it, or their situation, or their dramas, or there's news, there's story in the news that people make up that kind of clouded our vision. And to be the conscious leader, to be the awareness leader is kind of just working through all those fog, right?
Well, it's true that those things are still happening, right? There still is suffering in the world.
Yes.
But if I get swept up into the suffering, then I've lost my power to support and guide others through it in a way that might minimize it. or to somehow empower them. There's two ways of thinking about this. One is there is just plain victimization happening in the world. People do horrible things to each other. It's true.
Yeah.
But
sadly.
then sadly, it's terrible. Yes. And all you have to do is turn on the television or listen to the radio.
Yes.
And at the same time, there's this mindset of disempowerment, right? Some people call it a victim mindset. And that is when we have abdicated our ownership and our responsibility to come to terms with how we're holding and how we continue to buy in to that suffering. So it takes work. By the way, the whole drama triangle and that sort of triggered mindset, that sort of stingy mindset or disempowered mindset, it is the human condition. And it's not going to go away, but we can expand beyond it and include it. I love the phrase, include and transcend. Include and transcend the suffering in the world. Mother Teresa, that's what she did, right? She didn't deny it. She saw the beauty in supporting others in the way that they needed healing. So yes, we are shaped by the world and we shape the world. So there's this beautiful kind of dance that the way in which we engage in the world, we're impacted by what we see, but we can either be taken to our knees or we can do our own work to shine a light.
Thank you.
On what's
That's
possible.
So beautiful. The way you deliver your message, Lori, is just so on point, so eloquently delivered. For me, I just like, oh yeah, the bad news, I don't want to watch it. and the way you put it makes sense, right? It exists. And, and we have a choice, right? A choice to fall down on our knees or be strong for others and support others, going through those, disempowerment or whatever, suffering is around the world. There's poverty, there, kids with no home and stuff like that. There's so much work to be done. And as a leader, you can't do the work if you, fall into the victim mode. Beautifully
right.
said. And when we do this work, right, we have relationship with others, and the way we lead is by example. And you have a great example with your relationship with your husband. He even was there helping you, with your workshop, with stuff like that. You guys are so cute together. You have such a great relationship. And I think through those extraordinary personal relationship that you have, it come out in the way you lead others. And the relationship you have with others. Tell us a little bit about your husband.
Wow. Well, you'll have to read the book to get the full story because it's quite a mystery meeting. And I felt I'll just tease the audience a little bit. I feel like that our marriage was an arranged marriage by the universe. Mm-hmm. And almost like this was it was destined. And we have evidence. Whether you choose to believe the evidence is up to you. But anyway, yes, 28, we've been together 29 years, second marriage for both of us. And I've often, when we met, I was living in kind of a rough part of Dallas, and he's like, well, that's kind of a hard place to live. And I said, I just surround it with white light. And he was like, oh, most women in Dallas don't talk like that. And so I found out soon enough that Larry had been through, he was the only Jewish boy who grew up in Palestine, Texas. And when you're the only Jewish boy in Palestine, Texas, you have a winning formula for survival. And his was to be charming and witty and funny, which checks 3 boxes for me. And at some point, he made the decision to invest whatever it was going to take for him to get out of his family system, right? The only child, overprotective mother. And he did. He took LifeSpring and all of that. So I have often said that Larry is more addicted to transformation than I am. And he's in real estate. He's in commercial real estate. Wow. And together we have been on a journey we've done some of the same trainings. We have separate lives. Right. So, I mean, not separate lives, but we have our own journeys and our own sort of things that we're committed to. But we've worked it out. And we, like I said, we were both dancing last night, and he was there that day because that was day 17 after my hip surgery. And I was like, I think I could use a second. And he was just like, oh, absolutely. He loves it. And what was surprising to me was when people were doing their takeaways, one woman said, it's just so beautiful to see a couple work together the way that you guys do. And I think, our partners, our life partners are really our opportunity to face our own demons. Like there is no me. I'm sorry, there is no Larry. I'm working with myself in relationship to my most intimate partner. And, sometimes it's not pretty, but it's human.
It is human. And I read this book. It's called A Course in Miracles. And every opportunity, they said, is an opportunity for forgiveness. Every encounter that you have, whether it be with your husband, your kids, your employer, or whatever, it's just about us being a better human, expressing.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, Marianne Williamson was one of my favorite influencers, and she did a lot of work with Course in Miracle. And I tell you what, I mean, I think people have forgotten, so many people have forgotten how to forgive and move on. And people canceling. I've been canceled. I mean, for, a misunderstanding, and it rips your heart out to not be forgiven. And so we have to learn how to forgive ourselves and give ourselves grace. So.
Yeah. Nice. Let's talk about social responsibility, right? You've been involved in this movement for like eons. Well, no, I'm sorry. You're not that old, but it's like,
Let me tell you,
I'm glad we can laugh. I'm glad we can laugh about this, but it's like over 2 decades or almost 30 years that you've been involved in this movement, right? How has this involvement kind of influenced your perspective on the conscious leadership?
Thank you. It's been quite the journey. We started to go to the Social Venture Network conferences back in the mid-90s. And, Larry's in commercial real estate. I was a dance artist at the time. And I had, I knew a little bit about climate change and, recycling and carbon in the atmosphere and global warming and all of that. But this organization was committed to changing the way the world does business through environmentally, socially, and economically just business practices. And I felt like a complete imposter because I hadn't thought about any of that. And here were entrepreneurs who were creating businesses to help people get out of poverty, it wasn't even called regenerative farming at the time, but creating, biologically diverse environments where we can continue to impact the health and well-being and sustainability of our environment. I met so many amazing people. And around that same time, Larry got invited to Conscious Capitalism. And Conscious Capitalism is a much more, so the early movement was led by a lot of progressives, political progressives. Conscious Capitalism then kind of expanded it to, leaders in business who want to be a force for good, but may not want to be legislated, right, to have to do those kinds of things. So it's a very complex way of thinking about, literally businesses being responsible for the impact that they have in the world. With Conscious Capitalism, it's about stakeholder integration. So yes, profit matters, but and shareholders matter, but so do your employees' well-being and your vendors and the planet. So it's a people, profit, and planet, that all three of those things are at the same level and regarded in the same way, as opposed to endlessly extracting from the planet without any other way of compensating her for that. In terms of my business has just been impacted by that. And those were the leaders that I said that I would love to, support, because I'd like to sort of help all of that movement expand. And that's why I keep showing up and doing things and leading circles and doing things like in that nature, or in that vein. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Nice. Thank you so much for that. And how can leaders balance their business goal with their commitment to like really transparently supporting the social responsibility that we as conscious leader want to give? How can we balance that? What advice would you have?
Yeah, there's so many options. There are books like Conscious Capitalism by John Mackey. There's Conscious Business by Fred Kaufman. So there are books that kind of underpin with the philosophy and sort of the shift in mindset that's required to be thinking about your business, not in terms of just, making you rich, of course, and supporting your community and lifting others up that way. But if you're really interested in it, there is a assessment that anyone can take, and it's available. There is a movement called the B Corp movement, and becoming B certified, becoming a B Corp means that you are looking at transparency in your governance, in your mission and purpose. They literally have you sign a declaration for interdependence. So it's not about us above all. It's co-opetition, if you will. And it's based on the Global Impact Investment Rating System, which is an international way of, it's quite rigorous. But I say, go look at it and see which one of those little pieces of the puzzle that you could actually take on, and start slow and begin to expand your awareness of what do you do with your trash, the simple stuff. What do you do with your plastic? How do you hire people? How do you manage your own unconscious bias to make sure that you bring in people who don't look and sound like you? So things of that nature.
Nice. Thank you for that recommendation. I never heard of B Corp before until we speak. And I'm glad you touch on that. Thank you for that. And I'm sure a lot of listeners out there who's building small businesses, and they would be maybe thinking about that too. The future. Let's kind of look forward a little bit. What are your future goals and aspiration as a conscious leader and as the conscious leader circle workshop creator? What is that vision look like?
I would like to see the circles live on beyond me. I would like for, I've never really considered scaling before. Mm-hmm. And I've got kind of comfortable with my life the way it was. And it was, I just had clients show up and it was great. I had other, work come in and I was able to create something and design something. And I know that will continue, right? And I don't think I've ever said this before. So this is kind of a moment for me. I think it's really important that we support one another right now, and that we can hold a container with incredible strength and power and rigor, such that people experience a level of intimacy and sharing and vulnerability at levels that most of us never take off the mask, right? The looking good, the needing to perform, be the best. Mm-hmm. You can still do all those things. But, why not engage in a community that would support you through thick and thin? And, it's not for everybody, right? Other people circle up in different ways. It may be to get more referrals or to network in some way. And there will be some of that. But I think the moment for me is that these would be lifelong communities and not defined by my life term. Because I don't know if you've heard this or not, but nobody gets out of here alive.
I can guarantee you will die. I will die.
Yeah.
What I see, and this probably, and people know me, I'm very spiritual. And, when you die, you really, you don't die. I mean, death it's like just changing form. You're dropping the body. Mm-hmm. It's like taking off a tight clothes, right? And, but while we're here on this earth, as a human being, we want to make a good impact in this world. And I want to just thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And, I just want to continue to follow you. And I feel like we believe in the same thing, but, the way you put it, it's just so wise. You have a lot of wisdom in the way you express, your knowledge. I understand it the same way, but I can't, I don't express it the way you do. It's just amazing. You're a great leader. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Sass, and thank you for your kind words. I have to say that my hat is off to you for expressing yourself as beautifully as you do, and English not being your first language. So, thank you for the incredible effort that you have taken to send this message out and bring people together in this way. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for saying that. And one last question before I let you go. What is your purpose?
My purpose, which has been, I'll just say it. It's to flow with the magnificence of life. And what that means for me is that resist nothing. Just keep flowing with what's ever occurring, on behalf of creating positive impact.
Nice. Thank you. I just love hearing that. And, thank you so much for being here, Lori. And if you want to look Lori up, her website is www.consciousleaders with an S, conscious leaders, and make sure you spell conscious right. and it's .us. And
Yes.
You have the link below there on the screen. And also Lori is really active on LinkedIn, is linkedin.com Lori Darley, Darley. And if you are in Texas and you want to join the circle, and actually you don't even have to be there to join the wisdom circle, right? You're an amazing person and a lot of wisdom. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll speak again, I'm sure.
I hope so, Dr. Sass. You are an incredible space holder, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, our listener, for listening to the end on this episode with Lori Darley. And I hope we have added value to your life, to your aspiration, to your professional life. And please share this episode, download and subscribe, and make it a great day.